Hi, welcome again, or welcome for the first time if you're connecting in for the first time. I trust you're doing well. Our prayers and thoughts go with our friends in Victoria here in Australia who are struggling through the toughest lockdowns we've seen because of the reprisal of COVID-19 in their state. And can I invite you to pray for the nation of Lebanon? We've seen this week the crisis and disaster that's hit that nation with devastation that's almost unimaginable when you see the scene. So please pray for them. As you know, in these videos, I love to share around a particular thought, just one main thought each video. And the thought this time is pertinent to our times, but not just to our times. And it's leading in the grey. How do you lead in the grey? How do you lead when, by that I mean, how do you lead when there is uncertainty? How do you lead when there is disruption? How do you lead when there is shifting sands of circumstances that we have to navigate our leadership in? How do you lead when it's not straightforward? How do you lead in the grey? And if we're honest, many decisions fall in the grey. And the thing about the grey is there's many different shades or many different nuances or many different degrees of grey. Just this week, and by the way, I hope this doesn't get confused with the movie and the book, 50 Shades of Grey. It's not about that, but in the leadership space, we have to navigate shades of grey regularly. I went down to this week into Bunnings, which here in Australia is our leading handyman and hardware store, just to get some colour charts for the colour grey. And this is just a sample. I picked up just a sample. These are all different shades of grey, and it reminds us of the different ways we have to lead, because each one of those shades or nuances requires a different version of ourselves to navigate through it. And we find that sometimes difficult. What makes leading grey difficult is one that we lose control. We don't have the same control that we used to have. We used to know what was going. We used to kind of know cause and effect, that if we put this into place, this will be the result. But now that's all thrown astray. We don't have that same control that we like to have. There are no manuals for grey. No one has written a book on how to lead through every nuance or every shade of grey. There's no formulas, even though we'd like to have some. There aren't any formulas to do it. Anyone tells you they have, they're not telling you the truth. In grey, it gets difficult because people you lead and people you care for are also going through that and have different expectations of how you should lead them through the grey. So you don't just navigate the circumstances, you actually have to navigate the people and the expectations of people through those times as well. The length of time you go through the grey can make a huge difference to you. We've been going through the uncertainty of COVID now for months and months, and changes have been made regularly through that time. So it can be difficult. We don't have the same sense of control that we used to have. But good leadership shines in the grey. It doesn't shine so much in the black and white because that's relatively more simple, but it shines in the grey. And I want to just share a couple of thoughts with maybe things to keep in mind as we navigate that space and as we ourselves lead in the grey. And believe me, this doesn't come from any sense of being an expert. I've lived and led through many nuances of grey. Some you've led successfully and some not so successfully. It doesn't come as an expert. And by the way, I would postulate that no one's an expert in this space at all. But let me share a couple of thoughts. First one would be this: double down on what you can control. We know we can't control everything, and lots of things have been taken out of our control, but double down on the things that you can control. You can control your belief and your belief system. You can control your values. You control your attitudes. You control how you value people. You can control how you approach challenges. You can control how you handle conflict. You can control how you deal with the truth. There's lots of things you still do control. And if you're a faith-based leader, double down on the fact that God understands your grey better than you understand your grey, and that can bring with it comfort and confidence. So double down on the things you can control. Second thing I'd say is, don't think you have to have all the answers. Nobody does. And if anybody tells you they have all the answers or acts like they have all the answers, they are deluding themselves, really. Because when you sound like you have all the answers, or when you act like you have all the answers, people sniff out your inauthenticity very quickly. So don't think you have to have all the answers going through. You can navigate it and make some mistakes, but just head in that direction. Third thing I'd say is this: shorten the shelf life of your decisions. Shorten the length of time the decisions you make cover. What I mean by that is, if you would like a 5-year plan, then make it for 2 years. And after that time, as well as through that time, but after that time, evaluate it rigorously, review it strongly, and make any changes because of changing circumstances that you've experienced. If someone had made a 5-year plan 12 months ago, it would be an upheaval now. So maybe shorten the shelf life of your decision. Or if you've got a task you want to have done in 6 months' time, then chunk it down and break it down to a 2-month task that you can again review strongly and evaluate rigorously and tweak any differences and changes. Things have changed markedly in Australia in the last 2 weeks. So shorten the shelf life of your decisions, and it will, I think, help you navigate the grey. How well you lead in the grey is the hallmark of your leadership. Not how you lead in the black and white, but how you lead in the grey. And we're in it. And we're in it together, and we need to, trust and help one another along in that process. So I hope just those few thoughts will help you. If it does help, let me know. I'm on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. And now I'd love to say braggingly that there's now a catalogue of vlogs and blogs. There isn't. There's a few. I've now got to 4 written blogs, 6 video blogs on my website, timhanna.com.au. So I've hit double figures. I'm not calling it a catalogue, but if you can go back and read and watch those, and hopefully they're helpful to you, and you can get in contact with me on that website as well. So I'll be back in a fortnight. I hope this has helped. Please take care, stay safe, and don't lose hope.